So thanks to jQuery, we're able to show some loading information here and every time someone types something in. But let's actually talk about calling some Ajax here. So this is the last piece where the timing is going to come into effect here, is we're going to say delay timer is going to be equal to, and we're going to set this equal to set time out. So set capital timeout. Then inside of here, we want to do a function. All right, open and close parentheses. And again, we've got the curly brackets going on. At the end of those, we want to make sure that we add a semicolon. Now, one thing that's important with this is at the end of our curly bracket down here, we're going to want to say, okay, comma, and then provide how many seconds we want. And I believe this is in milliseconds, so like 1,000 equals like 1 second. And so this is going to say, okay, as long as it's been a second, then we're going to go ahead and call this thing. And the basic idea here is this clear timeout is every time somebody touches something, it clears the time that's happened here. So if it's only been like a half second, then you can, have that happen. And it doesn't have to be 1 second. It could be half a second, 2 seconds, 4 seconds, like whatever it is that you want. But I think that delay is pretty important. Okay. So now that we're in the delay timer, it's finally time for us to be able to make an Ajax call. So to kick this off, we're going to do a $, and then on this, we're going to say all lowercase Ajax, okay? And then do an opening parentheses here. Inside of this, we're going to be passing a couple of different things inside of here. So just sort of leave this for the time being, put an ending semicolon at the end of all of this. But the first thing that we're going to provide in here is we need to provide some information about where it is that we want to send this. So let's do a curly bracket, open and close. Inside of our opening curly bracket here, we need to say URL : and then say where it is that we want to go hit up for information. So in this case, we want to go search for some information. We've got to provide a URL for this. So let's go over to our URLs. I believe this probably falls under the videos here. So I'm going to do path. Again, in fact, I'm just going to copy most of what we had up here. All right, so let's just go ahead and call this a video/search. Okay, so we got our video/search. Next thing that we need on this is going to call a particular function. Now with this, you might be wondering, okay, is this a situation we want to do a class base or a function base? Because this is only doing one thing, it's not working with a model, I think this is a good instance for a function. So I'm going to call this one video_search, okay? And then for the name, let's keep it consistent here. We'll call this video search. All right, so we'll go ahead and save this. We now have this new URL called video/search. So let's go ahead and copy this, come back, and we're going to say the URL should be equal to, inside of our quotes, we're going to say video search. Now we've got to add a / here at the beginning because it's going to take whatever our existing URL is and slap that on the back end there. But we've got that one piece of information, so we're going to do a comma here. Inside of this curly bracket, this is really just a dictionary of data that we're passing to this Ajax call. The next thing is the data. So this is like what things do we want to provide for Ajax here. And let's do : and then another set of curly brackets inside of here. We're adding our own dictionary, and we want to provide a search term. So we'll call this search term. Okay, and this just needs to be equal to the text of whatever someone has entered in. So for the time being, we'll just make this really simple. I'll just say something like hello. Okay, we'll just have that be there. Awesome. So we're going to do an ending comma at the end of that data. The next thing that we need to specify is what sort of data type we're working with. So I'm going to say data, capital type, : and I'm going to have this be equal to all lowercase JSON, add a comma after that. And then we need to say, okay, if this is successful, so we're going to say success, remember 2 C's, 2 S's. So if you, I forgot the U, success, there we go. So if we are successful in getting information back, what do we want to do? Well, in this case, we want to call a function. So we're going to do function, where we're going to have data passed in, and then we'll have our opening curly bracket for some code that we want to run with that. So we're going to have all of that information there. And again, this is all going to be ended up inside of this curly bracket. So that's like the totality of everything that we have here. For the time being, let's say if we are successful, let's just simply go ahead and add something into our search results. So I'm going to say something like $, and we want to get to our search results, actually just like we had above. In fact, I'm just going to copy this text, paste it down here, and say, let's add something like Ajax, okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and save this particular piece of information. So we're now ready to move forward to the server side, because when we do this, you'll notice here, well, in fact, let's go ahead and first just in the views here, we got to create this function or else we're going to have a hard time. And because we're going to be working with JSON, we got to make sure that we import this. So just where we had done this, import HTTP 404, we're also going to do capital JSON response. And then let's go ahead and create our own function here. We're going to say def, and we want to call this video_search. Okay, this is going to take in a request. Excellent, and we'll have our colon there. And for the time being, let's just go ahead and return a JSON response with, we don't even need anything inside of it. So we'll just say return capital JSON response, open and close, okay? So we'll save this. What should happen is we should see that as if we type some information that we'll get back some text here, and it's going to say like Ajax okay. And if we go to the terminal, we'll see that we actually were able to hit that endpoint. So I'm going to, start typing some things here. Wait for 1 second. And if this was successful, we'll see that, but we still have the term loading here. So let's go ahead and see. Inside of the terminal here, we never saw search happening. So let's go ahead and right click this and see inspect element if we can't find something with the console, see what's wrong here. Okay. So the issue that we're having here is that this particular version of jQuery that we've imported, if we go back to our base.html, this is jQuery Slim, which does not include Ajax, which is not going to help us. So we have to go get the proper version that we're looking for. So let's go ahead and go back to the open webs here, and let's search for jQuery CDN, and let's do the Google one. If you're wondering what this CDN business is all about, it's a content delivery network. Let's do this top level one here. Basically, there's lots of different places that are, or there's lots of websites that are going to use jQuery. So CDNs will provide one common place to go get that from. And if you do this, odds are that other people have visited other pages that use that. And so they won't have to re-download that. It'll probably already be cached in the user's browser. Anyways, it can save a lot of time if you use a CDN. So we're going to take this. This is jQuery.min.js. It's not the slim version, and I'm using 3.3.1. Feel free to use the same as me if you'd like. Probably newer versions are going to be fine too. But let's go back to our code here, and here where we have our whole line about slim, let's go ahead and replace that with this new one here. We'll go ahead and save that. So with this in place, let's go ahead and cut this out. Let's now reload our page. You'll notice if we start typing some information, well, we don't get our loading to change, but if we go check out our terminal here, look at that. Our search is being called, right? Like internal server error video/search, and it's saying, hey, missing one required positional argument data. It's saying, hey, you've got to pass back something here. So we'll go back and let's just, for the fun of it here, provide some sort of thing here. So we're going to provide, let's see if we can just do a string with something like hello. It might make us put it inside of like a dictionary or something, but let's see. We'll type, and we're still not getting something. Yeah, it needs a dictionary. Look at that saying non-dict objects, whatever, right? So let's go ahead and do this as this, and we'll say, yep, inside of there. I'm just adding some sort of gibberish dictionary in here so that now when I type this out, look at that. Ajax okay, Ajax okay. So this means we've typed in some information here. It's been passed over to our function over here, we've returned back some information and then we displayed something. Now, we didn't choose to add anything sort of consequence. Like if you really want to see the full path that this is actually working here, let's go back to our add video here. And so let's do, just before we call this Ajax, let's go grab whatever the person is searching for. So I'm going to say var text is equal to, and let's do the $ here with the parentheses. Also, if you'll notice, I got some magical color showing up, which helps when you're writing the JavaScript. I'm using an Atom package called Atom Beautify, and I just did packages Atom Beautify, which then made this all colorful, which I think will help us as we're typing out here. But anyways, with this in place, then we'll do our string. We're looking for hash, and we want to get the ID search term. So let's go ahead and copy that just like we had from above. And on this, we're going to get whatever value is inside of there. So .val with the semicolon. So now we can take this text and we can actually go ahead and pass this to the server. So when we go ahead and, the data here right now, we had just said hello. Well, let's actually go ahead and pass the text. And then let's go over to our views.py. Okay, and inside of here, we're filling in some form information, right? If we go back to our forms.py, we have this search form. So let's make sure that's imported up at the top here. We do have the search form, great. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, all right, search underscore form is equal to capital search form. And inside of this, we're gonna provide the request.get data, because it's coming through as a get. We didn't post this information via Ajax. Let's go ahead and just do a very quick validation. We'll just say if search underscore form dot is valid with the parentheses there. So if that's the case, then we're going to want to return back some information. And so that will allow us to get to the actual information we're looking for, which is search form dot cleaned data, and inside of there we're looking for whatever is inside of search term. Okay, so what we're going to do in this case is we're going to say, okay, grab whatever is here, and we are going to return back some information here. Now we've got to specify it in some sort of particular way, and so we'll just keep like the hello tag for now. And then we'll also return, in case that didn't work, we'll do like a return. And in this case, we'll say something like not working. Okay, so we'll save this. So we've got to remember the term hello here. So now we're spitting back some actual JSON. If we go back to our add video, inside of our success, we want our search results .text, so instead of saying Ajax OK, to say whatever is inside of the proper information inside of here, right? So we've got to get this information out of the data. So we're simply just going to say data and then provide the string of hello. So this should be passing back whatever we have inside of that text box. Let's go ahead and reload this page. We'll add like one letter onto here, and look at that. The exact same things comes back. So I'll say something like Nick is cool, exclamation point. Look at that, Nick is cool. And what's happening is this is going from JavaScript over to our server and then being sent back here. This is the full round trip for Ajax. So if you just wanted to learn about Ajax, this is everything that you need. Like, you've just seen how to do this successfully with Django, right? Including the view where you just got to pass back a JSON response. Really, the next step for us now is to work with that API, which we got a little bit familiar with in the last section, and we're going to finally complete this.